Hey there, today I'm gonna explain a survival thriller film that depicts a gorgeous innocent-looking young lady anyone would fall in love with. Unfortunately, she uses her charm to bait strangers. She woos them to come closer to her in various ways and finally hunts them down like a predator. These things occur in a secluded place in France. Surprisingly, a lot of signboards warns the drivers to refrain from offering rides to hitchhikers. Maybe that's why this British guy is being avoided by everyone. He is Jack on a trip to France, who's been robbed of his car and luggage, and his wallet is also gone along with his cell phone. But he is lucky to have his passport with him. After a long time alone on the roads, he meets a stunning girl all by herself. Her name is Veronica. After continuous refusals for ride from the locals, an old guy called Grizzard offers them ride, and also takes them to his house where they can spend the night. The next morning, as he prepares to leave, he discovers that Veronica isn't around. Then the scene shifts to a basement where Veronica is tied. Next, Jack meets Grizzard, who hands him a letter saying this is what Veronica had left for him. After that, Jack leaves the house disappointed. As he walks along the road, suddenly someone hits him hard at the back of his head, making him passed out in an instant. Then the guy lugged him at the back of his truck, already carrying a dead moose. Things get far worse from here, we can't even imagine. Terror Recaps welcomes you to Road Games. The movie unfolds with a person dragging a corpse, preparing to get it buried. The scene then shifts to Jack, who is stranded in the middle of a road, trying to hitch a ride. He comes across a strange road sign that says never give a ride to anyone on this road. Confused by the locals' rude behavior, he continues walking. Suddenly he witnesses a man arguing with a woman in a car. After Jack intervenes, the man leaves the woman with him. Jack learns her name is Veronica, who is a French native but speaks fluent English. While he is a British citizen visiting France, and doesn't speak French at all. He was robbed on his way home, losing his money and phone in the incident, and his car was also taken, leaving him stranded in an unknown place, but he still has his passport. Veronica tells him that she lives alone and is planning to move to another country as she has no one here. She also lost her parents a long time ago. With darkness approaching, they decide to spend the night in the jungle and start chatting around a fire. Veronica shares more about herself with Jack, including her passion for autographs. In the morning, he discovers that Veronica is not around. She was away to take a bath in a nearby lake. A while later, Jack also joins her in the lake. After enjoying the refreshing water for some time, they continue walking along the road. Surprisingly, a yellow car stops this time, and offers them ride. Although Jack looks happy, Veronica looks nervous in the car. This nice guy is Grizzard, a local who doesn't speak English very well. However, he is friendly and insists they meet his family, because his wife previously lived in England. The unusual connection to England piques Jack's interest, so he accepts Grizzard's invitation to visit his family. As they enter Grizzard's house, they are welcomed by Mary, Grizzard's wife. Afterwards, Jack and Veronica are shown to their bedrooms. A while later, Jack wakes up and it's already nightfall. A box with Grizzard's name on it makes him curious. He sees a bundle of photographs telling stories of Grizzard and Mary when they were young, and suddenly discovers the picture of a boy with a girl, who are not living in the house with them, making him suspect the homeowners. After having dinner with Grizzard and Mary, he meets Veronica at the terrace, and learns that she once had a brother who got run over by a tractor, when they were playing in the field. Jack comforts her and later joins Grizzard to watch TV. He also tells him that he will be leaving his house in the early morning because he must return to England to meet his family, and Veronica is willing to move somewhere else. As he asks him about his children, Grizzard says he doesn't have any, making him even more suspicious about the ones in the photographs. Jack needs to leave the next morning, so he goes to bed. As he gets ready to depart in the morning, he realizes that Veronica is no longer there. He meets Grizzard, who tells him that Veronica had left early in the morning without waking him up. Jack starts to become suspicious of Grizzard. He also notices that Grizzard had recently repaired a cupboard with a hammer and hands him a letter from Veronica that also had her signature. Jack takes his leave. As he walks down the road, he starts to question the authenticity of the signature. It's completely different from what Veronica had shown him when they were resting in the woods. Suddenly someone hits him hard on the head and he instantly blacks out. When he wakes up, he finds himself tied up in a pickup truck. The man behind his abduction is Delacroix, a peculiar middle-aged man who refuses to explain the reason for his abduction, but presents a plate of food. Delacroix attempts to intimidate Jack in various ways, but ultimately does nothing. Clearly, Delacroix wants Jack to be scared and not do anything foolish. Next, he unties Jack's hand and takes a photo of him, revealing his true nature as a psycho. He then puts duct tape over his mouth and loads him into the truck. Before leaving, Delacroix tries to inject him with anesthesia, but has to stop because of a burning stove that's emitting smoke. Jack takes advantage of the situation and escapes, running far away. After walking for a few miles, he makes it back to Grizzard's house. He sees that Grizzard and Mary are about to leave, but Jack goes inside to find Veronica. To his surprise, he finds her tied up and locked in a room. Jack quickly releases her, but the couple returns to the house at that moment and panics when they realize Veronica has escaped. Unfortunately, they couldn't escape too far because the couple is chasing them in a car. Jack and Veronica are left with no other option but to confront Mary and Grizzard. But Veronica, like a brave woman, makes her next move. She takes Jack to a cabin where they can hide. Unfortunately, it belongs to Delacroix the kidnapper, and to make matters worse, he is there. Delacroix is shocked to see Veronica. Suddenly Jack appears and threatens to shoot Delacroix with a shotgun. But he doesn't have to struggle for long, as Delacroix slips on a sharp iron rod that goes through his chest. He dies there, but that doesn't satisfy Veronica. She aggressively stabs him in the chest. At that moment, Grizzard and Mary enter the cabin and Veronica reveals her true nature. She calls Grizzard Dad in French and Grizzard also comforts her as his child. Veronica and Grizzard have been deceiving Jack from the beginning. Grizzard kept Jack under the impression that he didn't have any children, but Veronica turns out to be his daughter. He can still imagine her as a little girl. To our surprise, Veronica turns out to be a serial killer who enjoys killing for fun. Additionally, the story about her brother's accident is also a lie. Veronica had brutally murdered her younger brother after they finished playing hide and seek. At the beginning of the film, we see a body being dragged by someone, and that person is Veronica dragging her brother's body to bury him. Jack is completely overwhelmed by the situation and refuses to listen to Mary and Grizzard's explanations. Being Veronica's parents, they are actually trying to save their daughter. Mary here makes an attempt to say something to Jack in English but gets beaten by Veronica and passes out. Only Grizzard is left to try and speak. He decides to remain silent. Veronica successfully keeps her secrets hidden and takes Jack with her, leaving Grizzard behind. In the final scene, Veronica leaves with Jack, wearing a happy smile on her face, while Jack also wears the same smile, completely unaware that he is about to be killed by Veronica. Throughout the film, there are hints about road signs prohibiting giving rides to strangers. These signs actually explain what Veronica, a fully grown psycho serial killer, had done before. She had tried to escape from her parents multiple times. Grizzard himself is behind those warning signs so that his daughter doesn't get a ride in the area. Grizzard and Mary never wanted their only child to be imprisoned, but also didn't want any more deaths. That's why Grizzard paid Delacroix to drug Jack and transport him to the nearest port. Thanks for watching the film.